Hello there, and welcome back to Therapy and Panels with me, the Super Guru. Let's talk about the comic book imprint known as Milestone. For anyone unaware, Milestone was an imprint of DC Comics, but mostly owned by the people who worked there, which were all the African American artists such as Dennis Cohen and Dwayne McDuffie, with DC Comics only having control on what they were allowed to publish. The group created big hits with such characters as Icon, Hardware, and due to big help from the animated series back in the early 2000s, many people are aware of, for today's session, Static. The character of Static was meant to be the Spider-Man of this world, especially now that at the time Spidey was now in his adulthood. So without further ado, I think we should dive right into Static number 1. The copy I own is a collector's edition, which included some special items such as a poster and a special trading card. The cover itself looks like a special picture frame with the electrical lines all over, with our main character Static himself, compared to what we all know he is now. I gotta say, this isn't the greatest look in my opinion. He looks like he stole Black Widow's outfit but added the mask, and really have no idea what the purpose of the hat. I don't know, maybe I'm just too spoiled by his more well-known look. Could just be me. Feel free to comment if you think the same. We begin the story with a young girl named Frida meeting up with a friend at the arcade, only to be greeted by a group of gangsters claiming their boss Hotstreak wants to see her. She must be late on a payment plan. Luckily for her, before anything serious can happen to her, Static arrives and we get a great action sequence showing off the skill that he has with his electricity powers, being able to create things such as force fields and powerful taser punches, as he likes to call them. During this fight, we can also see some of the Spider-Man inspiration with some of the witty banter he dishes out while confidently taking out the entire group. After a little flirting and making sure she's okay, he quickly runs off to home and for something important, where we are introduced to his mom and sister Sharon, also revealing some info such as his real name to be Virgil Hawkins. What was he in such a hurry to get up into his room for? Well, he was expecting to get a phone call from Frida, his friend, who also happens to be a possibly one-sided crush. Yikes, the friend zone. We've all been there. During the next day while at school, we also get a little bit of more characters, such as Richard Foley appearing as one of Virgil's friends, discussing about his crush on Frida, telling him he needs to go for it or he may lose her. We also just get a bit more on what type of person Virgil is, just being one of those lovable dorks that anyone can enjoy, really. During class, some of the same gang from earlier walk in and kidnap Frida at gunpoint to take her to see their boss, causing Virgil to go sneak off to change into Static. We then cut to a playground location where the leader Hotstreak is located. We figure out why he is called Hotstreak, as it turns out he has the ability of pyrokinesis, and he claims that Frida, outside of him trying to make her his, is also using her as bait for Static to finally take him down. Will Static fall for this trap? How will Frida and him get out of this predicament? Well, there's, as usual, one of the few ways you can find out is picking this up at a comic store or any other type of bookstore around yourself, or at most, I could recommend Comixology. In my full opinion, this book is just okay. Some of the dialogue with all the characters is great. I love the action sequence showing off Static and what he can do against his villains with some clever ways that I never really thought you could do with electricity, in all honesty. Personally, the only thing that kind of bothers me is the artwork. In some pages it looks great, but in others the characters seem kind of ugly looking, and the other panels, they kind of look like they're kind of quickly rushed. Some of them looking like something I doodled back in high school. I personally wish we got more on how Virtual got his powers in this issue, but apparently we get that happening in some of the following issues to come. So maybe one day if I'm able to obtain the book. That is all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank you all for attending this session. If you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, this is the Super Guru signing off.